Hello friends! Today's tutorial shows how to create address labels in Microsoft Word from your Gmail contacts. First, we'll import the Gmail contacts. Next, we'll create the address labels using Microsoft Word's Mail Merge function. Then we'll customize the line spacing and fonts. Lastly, we'll print the address labels. I'll be using Word for Microsoft 365. These steps also apply to Word for Mac and the recent non-subscription versions of the software. These steps don't apply to Word for the web or Word for mobile. Before we begin, it's important to note that these steps assume that you've already added complete names and mailing addresses to your Gmail contacts. To begin, sign into Gmail on your preferred browser, and then select the waffle menu in the top right corner. Next, select Contacts from the drop-down menu. After your contacts appear, select the Export button. When the Export Contacts dialog box appears, ensure that Google CSV is selected. CSV stands for comma-separated values. It's a plain text file format that separates each piece of data with a comma. Now select Export. The CSV should be sent to your Downloads folder. You can leave it there or move it to another folder as desired. Now that we've exported the Gmail contacts, we can create the address labels. To begin, open a new blank document in Microsoft Word, and then select the Mailings tab. From there, select Start Mail Merge, and choose Labels from the drop-down menu. When the Label Options dialog box appears, select your label vendor on a PC or label product on a Mac, and select the product number. This information should appear on your label's packaging. If your labels aren't listed, you can create a custom option by selecting the New Label button, and then enter a custom name and the dimensions into the Label Details dialog box. After selecting your labels or creating a custom label, select the OK button. Next, select Select Recipients and choose Use an existing list from the drop-down menu. When the Select Data Source dialog box appears, locate and select the CSV file, which will be in your Downloads folder unless you moved it elsewhere, and then select the Open button. If you're on a Mac, the File Conversion dialog box will appear. Ensure that Mac OS and left to right are selected, and then select the OK button. Now select Edit Recipient List. If you're on a PC, uncheck anyone you want to exclude in the Mail Merge Recipients dialog box. If you're on a Mac, use the minus button to exclude individual people instead, and then select the OK button. Now we're going to insert the address fields. PC users may notice that they have a pre-built address block field option. I don't recommend using this option because I've found it to be problematic when working with CSVs. Instead, ensure your cursor is in the first label, which will be blank, and then select the top Insert Merge Field button. The headings from your CSV will appear as fields in the Insert Merge Field dialog box. Select each field that you want to include, and then select the Insert button for each one. Today I'm going to insert the first name, last name, address 1 street, P.O. Box, city, region, which is the state, and postal code, which is the zip code. Your labels may be different than those shown here. Note that you can insert fields that don't apply to every contact, such as a P.O. box, without worry of creating unnecessary blank spaces. Next, select the Close button. If you're on a Mac, you won't see the Merge Field dialog box. Instead, select the fields from the Insert Merge Fields drop-down menu. Now place your cursor between the fields and press Enter on a PC or Return on a Mac to move the fields down to the next line as necessary. You may need to use the vertical ruler to adjust the row height to see all the fields. Next, insert a space between the first and last names, and a space or comma and space between the city and state. Also insert a space between the state and zip code. If you live outside of the United States, adjust these steps to meet your location's postal requirements. When you're finished, use the vertical ruler to return the row height to its original position. And then select Update Labels to insert the fields into all the labels. And select Preview Results to see the addresses in the labels. Finally, reselect Preview Results to return to the field view. Now we're going to customize the line spacing. To begin, press Ctrl+A on a PC or Command+A on a Mac to select all the labels. Then, right-click a field in the first label on a PC or Control-click a field in the first label on a Mac, and then select Paragraph from the shortcut menu. When the Paragraph dialog box appears, check Don't add space between paragraphs of the same style to remove the extra space between the lines. You may also want to move the addresses away from the left margin of each label by adding a small indent, such as 0.3 inches, in the inside indentation text box. And then select the OK button. Despite the adjustments we just made, the addresses may appear too high in the labels. Let's add space at the top by first clicking away from the text to deselect all the labels. Then, right-click or Control-click the first field in the first label, and select Paragraph from the shortcut menu. This time, when the Paragraph dialog box appears, uncheck Don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. Next, add a small amount of font space, such as 12 points, in the spacing before text box. Then select the OK button. And reselect Update Labels to add the top space to the other labels. To customize the font, again press Ctrl+A or Command+A to select all the labels. Then, right-click or Control-click a field in the first label and select Font from the shortcut menu. When the font dialog box appears, select a font, font size, and color. And then select the OK button. And select Preview Results to see the new font choices applied to the addresses. When you're ready to print your address labels, load your label sheets into your printer and then select Finish and Merge, followed by Print Document from the drop-down menu. When the Merge to Printer dialog box appears, select OK. And when the Print dialog box appears, select OK on a PC or Print on a Mac to print all your labels. Or enter a 1 in the Pages text box, followed by the OK or Print button to do a test of only one sheet before printing a large batch. If the test page is successful, you can return to Finish and Merge, Print Document to print all the sheets. Finally, save the labels as you would a regular document if you want to reuse them in the future. All the steps we just performed are listed on my website at erinwritewriting.com, which is linked in the description box below, along with my complete playlists, how to use Microsoft Word, and how to use Word for Mac. If you found today's tutorial helpful, please leave me a comment with any other Word topics you'd like me to cover in the future. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss upcoming videos, and of course I'd appreciate a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching.